of death are breaking. The chains of drug addiction are breaking. The chains of suicide is breaking. The chains of molestation and blame is breaking. I feel the chains breaking. They are breaking. There's an army of women willing to break every chain. There's an army of women willing to break every chain. Every chain you have wrapped around you has been broken. Every chain you have allowed to keep you bound up has been broken. Why? Because we serve a mighty God. We serve a God who sits high and looks down low. And he says that every chain you have allowed to bound you will be broken. Why? Because you know that he has the power to break every chain. He has the power to release whatever is going on in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit. And when he come along, he'll blow a fresh wind. And that fresh wind will bring everything off of you that's been holding you and weighting you down. So on today, we break every chain. We break and release every chain because, Father God, we thank you for always looking over us and loving on us and protecting us. So I just want to stop by today. I thank you for allowing me to be here. I come all the way from Maryland to the ATL. Not for me, but to give God all the glory. To deliver a word that God says, no more chains holding me. We will not have any more chains on us after today. We will release them and let them go. We will shout about it and we'll have victory over it. Why? Because he says that he will go before us and make a way. Some of you are waiting for him to go, and God has said, I'm already way up there, sis. Get your army in order. Start marching towards me and I'll meet you right there. Some of us just need to go with him and stop trying to go alone on ourselves. See, we can't get this journey to God, to his blessings by ourselves. It takes people being surrounded with you. You heard the song, it says there's an army. Who's in your army? What sisters you got holding you up? What sisters you got marching before you and protecting you? What sisters you got holding you down? Can I tell you, I looked up on today, and my two sisters came all the way from South Carolina without telling us they'd be in the building to hold us down. Where is your army? Who do you have riding with you? Who do you have protecting you? Who do you have covering you and praying over you and speaking life into you? I want to take y'all on a journey of some women who are some amazing women, right? Because it says in the song, your army. I want to encourage some of you about the army you didn't even know you had. You remember that woman who sat before Jesus at his feet, and she wiped his feet with her tears in her hair, right? And then those naysayers were sitting on the side saying she didn't belong there. Somebody is telling you you don't belong where you are. Somebody is discounting how far you've come on your journey. Somebody is always reminding you of who you used to be. But you want to remind them, I'm not that person anymore. Take a look again, huh? You better see who I truly am on the outside. Don't judge me for who I was. So that woman who sat before God, can you just imagine for 1 minute, for 1 second, being in God's presence, to be able to sit at his feet and not say a word, but understand that the blessings that's pouring into you because you're willing to get before him and sit at his feet. Can you imagine the overflow that you would feel sitting before him in his presence? And no matter what nobody around you have to say, God still sees and hears you. God still believes that you are his daughter. You are truly the one he is willing to bless, the one he is willing to love on. And so CeCe Winans says it best, and I want to remind some of you. She says, you weren't there the night Jesus found me. I don't know about you, but I want you to take a second and remember the night God found you. The morning, the hour, the minute, whatever it was. Remember when God found you. It says you were not there. You did not feel what I felt when he wrapped his loving arms around me. You don't know the cost of my oil. See, other people don't know what you've been through. They don't know the nights you stayed up crying. They don't know the nights you felt like giving up and you said, if I don't wake up tomorrow, guess what? I'm going to be all right. They don't know what it felt like on those days when you were walking the streets and then you didn't know whether you were going to make it from the street corner back to the house. They didn't know whether you didn't know whether that night where you might have smoked that pipe, did whatever those drugs was, whether you were going to wake up the next day. But I just want you to take a second and remember you here today. So God was there waiting to save you every single time you thought about giving up. God was right there cheering you on. So don't give up on yourself because God will never give up on you. So remember, nobody was there with you the night when he found you. So you want to just stay basking in that moment when he met you, when he found you, when he delivered you, when he set you free, when he broke those chains. But see, here's what you got to remember. Don't put the chains back on. Don't put the chains back on. Don't put them chains back up and wrap them back around you and start putting them back on. When you release them for good. And here's the deal. It's a reminder daily. He says, put on your full armor. We get up every day and we go to and from and we forget our armor. You better go back and get your armor. You better go back and get your armor every day. You rise and shine. You need to get your armor. Part of your armor is speaking life into yourself and not negativity over your life. So speak life into yourself. So now we're going on another journey down the road some more. And Jesus was in the heat of the heat. How many know what story I'm going on after? In the heat of the heat, at the most hottest time of the hour, where he decided to walk through and meet her. How many of you know it's God don't do nothing without a plan? See, we the ones without a plan. God don't do anything by happenstance. He is always on time. Might not be when you want him, but he's going to be right there when you need him. And so he met her at the well. Where are my sisters at that need to go and take a time and go sit at the well before God? And when he meets you there, don't come as your representative. Because, see, he can't help what you don't give. You got to come truly as who you are. You got to come stripped naked. Naked you've come and naked you'll leave. You got to be willing to come and give it all over to him. You got to be willing to tell him everything. You got to be willing to and here's the deal. You don't got to have no glorious prayer. Everybody think you got to have this all fashioned up pray. You better come to him and just say, God, I thank you. God, I praise you. God, I honor you. God, I give you glory. God, I just remember when. God, I'm thankful. You don't have to have a fancy prayer. Because, see, we get caught up in wanting to have a fancy prayer. Or we get caught up in, oh, God, I'm not sure what verse you said that in. Just remember the story. You ain't got to know the verse. Remember the story. Because, see, he's not pleased by you knowing the verse. He's pleased by you knowing his word and what he gave you as the revelation in his word. That's what he's pleased with. And so when you go and sit before him at that well, remember, don't come with your little bucket asking for stuff that you can do on your own. Come to God expecting great things. Come to God expecting him to bless you beyond measure. Come to God expecting for him to fill your bucket up so much you never have to go back worried about whether it's going to be empty again. Because you're not going to the world for them to fill your cup. See, most of us is looking to everybody else to fill our cup. They can't fill it. They can give you temporary, but that starts leaking out. But when God fills it up, it is on the inside of you. Can't nobody shake it. Can't nobody rattle it. Can't nobody release it. Can't nobody take it from you. Can't nobody shift you to and fro from it. As long as you stay connected to God, as long as you stay in his presence, as long as you go before him and let him know, God, for some reason, I allowed my cup to empty out. Can I tell you, most of us are given from an empty cup. You can't serve from empty cups. Can I tell you, everything I'm going to give to you today is overflow. Because I'm going to keep what God has for me, and I'm going to give what he has for you to you. But I'm already got what's mine. I'm not willing to give you all of mine so that you can be okay. I'm keeping what's mine. See, we give all of ourselves to everybody else. We ain't got nothing for ourselves. As women, we are givers by nature. Givers by nature. But you ought to be willing to take too. You can't go to the ATM and withdraw if you ain't got no money in there. Because it will say what? Insufficient funds. You can't think God going to keep blessing you and you ain't prayed a prayer in years. Okay, because I ain't stopped by to make you comfortable. I'm going to give you what God says give me. Some of you ain't talked to him in years. Some of you ain't prayed to him and just asked him for what it is that you need because you're so busy trying to do it yourself. Can I tell you it ain't in our power? It's in his power that he's going to give us everything we stand in need of. Everything. Everything. Don't forget everything. I can't say everything enough. Let me hear you say everything. Everything again. Because some of y'all don't believe it. One more time. Everything. Because too often we doubt. Right? Too often we doubt. Yeah. Let's go down the road a little further. How many of you remember that woman who had been struggling for how many years? 12 long years. Some of you have been struggling for way more than 12 years. Some of you struggling in the mind. Some of you struggling in your heart. Some of you struggling in your spirit. And some of you are not willing to release it. Some of you are not willing to do what it needs to be done. And she said, all the doctors said they couldn't help her. But there was one. See, she kept going to the wrong doctors. She kept going to the wrong people. Some of you are going to the wrong people for healing. Some of you are going to the wrong people for answers. One person. And can I tell you, on that journey, she had no idea that day she was going to find Jesus. No idea on that day. But she found out, hey, he was in the town, and she was willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. She got down on her knees. Some of you ain't willing to get down on your knees. She got down on her knees, crawled. How many of you willing to crawl for God? How many of you willing to get downright and dirty for God? How many of you willing to do whatever it takes, God, to get in your presence? She got down on her knees, went through the crowd. She didn't even know. How many of you know I'm down now? I can't even see everybody's faces. She could not see his face, but she knew who to touch. Woo! She knew who to touch. She couldn't see his face, but she knew who to touch, and she knew what that touch meant. She knew what that touch would do for her. It was never about the healing, but it was about her becoming whole. One touch in God can make you whole. Some of you are one touch away from your breakthrough. Some of you are one touch away from God changing everything in your life. Some of you are one touch away from a new job. Some of you are one touch away from a new home. Some of you are one touch away from your breakthrough, one touch away from being clean for years. One touch. Are you willing to do whatever it takes for that one touch? Are you willing to do whatever it takes for that one touch? Because that one touch, you'll be made what? Whole. And how many of you desire to be whole? It is nothing like God filling you up and you being whole. Nothing like it. Can I tell you the focus is on everyone talking about eating from that tree. Eve is so greater than that. She is so bigger than that. Can I tell you, we all make mistakes in life. All of us do. But let me remind you about her story that everybody else doesn't tell you. God still used her. God still used her. God still used her after she ate from the tree. So whatever you've done, whatever you've gone through, whatever you have been through, God can still use you. And he is not waiting for you to get perfect. He is not waiting for you to have it all together. Because can I remind you, you will never be perfect. You will never have it all together. But what you can do is have a love for God. What you can do is have a heart to serve God. What you can do is be a mouthpiece for God. I tell everybody I'm God's ride or die chicken. I'm a ride with God till the wheels fall off. Because I know if I'm riding with him, I'll never be alone. My car, I'll never run out of gas. I'll never be without blessings. I'll never be without my breakthrough. Why? Because I'm a ride with my God. And I'm going to let him know when I fall short. Because then I know, guess what? When I fall down, who got my back? God going to pick me back up. Not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but can I tell you, my God is a good God, and he is a forever changing, forever great, and he is an all-forgiving God. So while you thinking he can't forgive you, he has already forgiven you, my sister. Here's what I know. You have not forgiven you. You have not forgiven you. And I stopped by today to remind every woman, forgive yourself. It is time out for you holding your own self hostage. You ought to forgive yourself so that God can use you. You ought to forgive yourself so that you can make an impact in the world, because you are assigned to somebody. Your gifts are going to make room for you in rooms you didn't even know you belonged in. I have traveled the world, and I had no idea God was taking me to any of those places. But can I tell you, when you are willing to ride for him, he will put you in places you never even imagined you could go. He will give you things in your life you never thought you could have. And he will also surround you with people you never even thought would be there to bless you. But can I tell you, when you stand on his promises, surely he'll keep delivering more and more and more and more. He is a forever blessing God, not just today, not tomorrow, but forever. We will forever be able to receive gifts from God. But if you stop asking, he'll stop delivering them. She already told you God is a gentleman, and he will not kick down doors for you. But guess what? You ought to be willing to kick down doors for him. I don't know about you, but I'm busting all doors down for 2024 and ushering in 2025. Ain't nothing I can't accomplish, and you ought to tell yourself and speak life into yourself. Listen, it ain't nothing you cannot do if you believe in you. The problem is, do we believe in ourselves? We got to be willing to believe in ourselves. I want to remind you of another woman that most people look down upon and frown upon, but not my God. How many of you know the story of Rahab? See, everybody remember her for what she used to be. Everybody remember her for who she was, not who she is. See, you ought to be thankful that God does not judge you for what you've done. Oh, he has erased he's erased it. You need to erase it, but he has already erased it for you. But remember, all that she did, God still used her. So God is in the using business. Are you in the receiving business? Are you ready for him to use you? Are you willing? See, because it requires your yes. It requires your yes. So can I get a yes, yes? Because when you're willing to say yes, God will show up. But he will not force you to say yes. He will not force you to let him in. But when you let him in, can I tell you, it's a joyful feeling. It's a feeling you could never imagine. It is one where you feel so overjoyed. Your peace is priceless. Stop giving your peace to everybody else. Stop allowing everybody else to treat you like a yo-yo. When they want you up, you up. When they want you down, you're down. And you need to stop being a yo-yo to yourself. You up one day, you down the next day, you are this way, you're that way. And when the wind blows, you're going this way. And if the wind blows, you're going that way. And then if the wind blows, you're going this way. No, you better stand flat-footed. knowing that who you are fearfully what? And wonderfully made. Don't allow anybody to shake who you are. Don't allow anyone to make you feel less than who you are. Because you are daughters of God. And God says we are blessed beyond measure. We are the head and not the tail. We are the lender, and not the borrower. Some of you keep on borrowing from everybody, forgetting that you got the power to be the lender. Some of you keep saying, oh, well, I need this. No, you really don't. You need to go to God and ask him so he can give you what you need. Because you're going to the wrong people. You're going to people who can't even give you what you need, especially with sustainability. You want to go to the people who can give you what you need. Next journey. How many of you know the story of Ruth and Naomi? Ruth and Naomi. Let me get my Naomis up here. Now, they had no idea I was getting ready to Naomi them up here, but they is getting ready to be in for a Naomi treat. So where my Naomis at? Stand up. Where my Naomis at? Stand up. Nikki, Steph, Nan, Adrian. Right behind you, Adrian. Why am I giving blank? Tell me your name, babe. Millie and Nikki. All my Naomis come up. They had no idea. No idea. I already said, the song said there's an army rising up. Who's your army of sisters ready to link arms with you and ready to hold you? Yep, like straight across. Because I'm going to show y'all. Y'all ain't have no idea. They have no idea. They probably like, oh, my God, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. Who's your army? Because, oh, don't get here, Millie, because of your chest. Okay. Who's your army? Who's got your back when you feel like you're about to fall? Who's going to hold you up? Who's going to balance you? Right? Who got you? Who got you when you go down? Who's going to lift you back up? Who got you? Why don't you got sisters lifting you back up? Where's your army at? Where's your army at? Who's protecting you? Who's surrounding you? Who's loving on you? Who's speaking life into you when you don't have a prayer for yourself? Who's praying for you when you can't get it out? Who's protecting you? Who got you in the middle? Who got you in the middle? Who's covering you, sis? Do you have somebody covering you so that when you want to fall down, they got you? When you want to keep falling, they got you. When you want to give up, they got you. When you say, God, I don't have anything left in me, they got you. When you say, God, I'm feeling it, God, I don't know how to pray anymore, God. God, I feel like I'm broken, God. God, I just need your strength. Who got you? Who got you, sisters? Because it's in your sister's power that's going to always, when it says, whoa, sister, pause. Who's pausing with you? Who's pausing with you? Who's pausing with you? Who got you covered? Who's protecting you? Who's speaking life into you? Who's surrounding you? Thank you, ladies. You got to have people who's going to protect you. You got to have people who's going to love on you when you forget to love yourself. I don't know about you, but 10 years ago, I didn't even love myself. 10 years ago, I was that sister who, when I didn't have that circle, and I did, but I didn't know how to call on them. I didn't know how to be vulnerable enough. I didn't know how to say what. I didn't forget. I forgot naked you came and naked you'll leave. So I held on to it all, right? I had my chain. I wore it proud. Wearing your chain proud. Some of you are wearing what you went through proud. Can I tell you, your mess is part of your message. Can I tell you, all the broken pieces are shattered yet not broken. Put them back together again. As long as you still got the pieces, you can piece them back together. As long as they are still all over the board, find your way to put them back together. But remember this one thing. When you put them back together, they'll be different than they were the first time. It will not be the same, sister. Put your pieces back together. Stop picking up this chain and wearing it. Stop wearing it like it's a medal, a badge of honor. It is not a badge of honor. This is what you've been through. Ha. Come on. This is what you've been through, but this is not who you are. That's what you've been through, but that is not who you are. Do not own that person anymore. That person is a part of your journey so that you can get to who you are today. And I tell you, I stopped by today to tell you you can go from being broken to unbreakable. God will fill you up with everything you stand in need of, but you gotta be willing to go to him and say, with God I am and with God I'm not, but God I need thee, oh I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh bless me now, my gentle Savior, I come to thee. So stop pretending you don't need God, because I'm gonna say it again, I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour, God, I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my gentle Savior, because I've come to thee. God is waiting for you, sister, to come. You are broken, but you can become unbreakable. Don't allow the world to tell you that you are not enough. You are more than enough.